Keita calls out to her and tells her they have to flee, but she responds that he needs to save the other people. He tells her that they are disposable, but she is not. Amanjaku says that only she can save them, and Asami makes her choice. What's up everybody, Jeff here, and we're back for another Malifaux lore breakdown. This week we're going to be going over Asami from the Ten Thunders. So spoilers coming up for all of her stories, and you can find a list in the description below, so you can check the stories out for yourself. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm getting pretty close to having a video on all the masters in the game, and clicking those buttons really helps keep me going, so thanks for that. And with that out of the way, let's get into Asami. Amanjaku watches from beyond the veil as a woman gives birth. He was grooming her to be his vessel, but there's a complication, and the woman dies to save her child. Amanjaku is angry, but he looks at the girl named Asami and decides that she will be his new vessel. Since she was a child, Asami has heard voices and seen faint lights dancing around in her vision. She would spend her time playing with the lights, and she asked her dad if he saw them as well. He told her no, but that those from the beyond had chosen her for great things, just like her mother. Asami got scared and asked if they will take her away too. Her father tells her that they will love her and her children. Thinking of having a family always gave her comfort, though she was never allowed to have friends because her dad was worried that they would find out about the lights. Amanjaku watches as Asami grows slowly. Several times throughout her life, he has to intervene to save her from her carelessness or from danger from other people. He worries that one day she won't heed his warnings, and he may be forced to cross into the living world too soon. The process would be painful and could destroy him. Asami spends her time helping her dad maintain their family temple, and she's never left the town of her birth. She watches as people from all over the world come on pilgrimage to the temple and make offerings to the Oni and the ancestors. They end their journey at the Obsidian Gate, a large divine statue with an emerald in its forehead. The locals tell of a legend that this third eye was a barrier between worlds where Oni could spy on the living. A voice interrupts her thoughts, and she turns to find a large foreigner, not dressed like the other pilgrims. He wears a gray trench coat and steamfitter's goggles. The man asks her how late the shrine is open, and suddenly the lights in her vision get brighter, and the voices get louder. Asami is blinded and disoriented, and she trips over her clothes and falls. As she struggles to her feet, she tells the man that visitors need to be gone by sundown. Later, Asami and her dad eat dinner while sitting underneath the gate. He tells her that she needs to find a husband soon so that he will have a chance to meet his grandchildren. She asks him how she will ever find someone if she's never allowed to spend time with anyone else. He tells her that this is for her own good, because he knows the lights are real, and she can see those from beyond. But perhaps, he thinks, he should start to trust her more. Suddenly, a burst of magic hits the ground near them, and showers them in splinters of rocks. Asami's father is thrown away, and she is pushed into the statue and hits the back of her head. She almost blacks out as she sees 5 foreigners approach, and she recognizes one of them as the man from earlier. One of the men tells the others that the doc said no survivors, and orders another man to kill her, adding that the Tanakas cannot know they were here. Another man draws a knife and looks at her, telling her it's a shame, and then plunging the knife into her stomach. Amanjaku looks on with rage as his second vessel bleeds out. He tried to warn her about the stranger, but she didn't listen. He realizes what he has to do and forces himself through the veil. The agonizing pain would have done him in if he had not entered her spirit at just the right time. Asami hears a voice inside her head, telling her to let him in, as she can trust him, as he has always been with her. She lies still and tells the voice to leave her to die, asking if it has not hurt her enough already. The voice tells her that it hasn't hurt her, it has saved her, and demands to be let in before she runs out of time. She suddenly feels intense pain in her head as the voice tries to force its way inside, but Asami resists, preferring to die free. Suddenly there's a bright flash as her dad wields a katana and cuts down 2 of the intruders. She looks up and sees relief in his eyes as he looks down at her and realizes that she's not dead. That brief hesitation costs him his life as a gunshot rings out, and Asami watches as her father drops to the floor dead. She has nothing left to live for. The voice in her head speaks. Revenge. Overcome with grief and desperation, she lets the voice in, and suddenly the pain is gone and she feels herself overcome with rage. The man with the gun is surprised as the girl he thought was dead stands up and walks towards him. He tries to turn the gun on her, but the strands of her hair reach out in long tendrils and wrap around his neck. They pull him closer to her, and Asami reaches up and tears his throat out with her bare hand. After the struggle, Asami finally collapses to the ground next to the 2 bodies. She does not see as several figures emerge from the darkness and take out the other 2 mages with precision shots. They then place Asami on a stretcher and carry her away. Asami awakes in extreme pain and looks up to see a man tending to her. She asks where her father is, and the man introduces himself as Keita and says that he's a friend of her father's. He confirms that her father is dead and that she would be too, but his mages only barely were able to heal her. The voice in her head speaks, and Asami is disappointed as she was hoping that it would be gone. Keita tells her that the wound on the back of her head and in her stomach will heal, but that she will never be able to have kids. Asami is devastated The blood drains from her face as she realizes that she is doomed to loneliness forever, and she can't even start a family of her own. She tells the man that there's nothing left for her here, and asks where can she go. He smiles and asks her if she's ever heard of a place called Malifaux. The lights in her eyes grow more intense, and the voice in her head tells her to take him there, and he promises to fix her. After spending a few weeks in the town of Promise, north of Malifaux City, Asami's thoughts still dwell on her predicament. She learns that her family has had ties to the Ten Thunders, and she finds purpose in working for the organization. Keita encourages her to train her abilities to help fight for her people, and he tells her that her father would have wanted her to let the Oni in. Asami's convinced that they are evil, and she considers the events of that fateful night to be all the proof she needs. One day, she awakens to find a small, impish figure looking over her. He asks why she seems surprised to see him, and she exclaims that she didn't know he had a body. He tells her that he is the Amanjaku, and he always had a body, but the magic on Earth was too weak for him to manifest it. Asami asks what the others would think if they saw him, and he says that just like how only she can hear him, only she can see him, adding that the others already know about him, and that's why she's here. The Ten Thunders intend to manipulate her to make use of his blessings for themselves. Asami tells him that this won't be a problem, because she will never let him in again, and asks why he won't leave her in peace. Amanjaku says that they can help each other, and offers to give her the ability to have a child in exchange for her opening himself up so that he can finish crossing over. Every morning she would wake up and hear the same proposal, and every morning she would refuse. One day, Asami awakens to the sound of chaos. When she heads outside, she sees that the settlement is under attack by Nephilim. The rail workers are quickly overcome by the surprise attack, and the few people who hold out are only able to do so because of their great martial prowess. Amanjaku goads her as she watches the slaughter and asks if she will do nothing. She says that she does not want to let him in, and if she has to die, then so be it. Keita calls out to her and tells her they have to flee, but she responds that he needs to save the other people. He tells her that they are disposable, but she is not. Amanjaku says that only she can save them, and Asami makes her choice. Her hair starts to form into ropes and float in the air, and she screams in pain as the wound on the back of her head opens up and reveals several rows of teeth. As the Nephilim notice her, her slithering hair reaches out and grabs a Terratot. It is fed into the maw on the back of her head, where it's swallowed whole. Then, in an even more gruesome sight, the mouth on her head starts expanding as figures start to emerge from it. Keita recognizes Tengu, Yokai, and Obsidian Oni. The creatures begin attacking the Nephilim, who scatter and are all either cut down or flee into the hills. Once they're all gone, the Oni are still in a rage, and they turn their weapons on the remaining Torokage and rail workers. In a few seconds, Asami is left standing alone with nothing but corpses. She feels tears flowing down her cheeks, and Amanjaku tells her that this is what she was born to be, just like her mother. She mourns for Keita, and then realizes that the Thunders will kill her, like a show beast that is turned on its master. She reaches for a discarded weapon, preferring to go out on her own terms, but Amanjaku wags a finger, and the weapon flies away. He tells her that she has come too far for that, and that she must have forgotten their deal about her child. Asami says that no child would want to be born to a monster like her, and Amanjaku replies that she isn't a monster, and she will soon learn to control the blessings. Asami screams out, demanding for him to get out of her head, and a shockwave emanates out, and as it passes over the Oni, they fade into dust. The maw on the back of her head closes, and her hair drops. And Asami tells Amanjaku that she won't be his pawn as she tries to take a swipe at him. He dodges out of the way, asking her if she is willing to sacrifice the child he offered her, and she replies that there is always another way. The small imp laughs and tells her that she would need to find another with power like his, and Linshutsi wouldn't even be willing to talk to her. He stops talking abruptly, and Asami looks up and asks if he is here in Malifaux. He replies that he has said too much, and Asami tells him that she will find the other Oni for herself and make a deal with him. He may be an Oni, but at least she can deal on her own terms, free of Amanjaku's curse. She can also lie to the Thunders about what happened here, and have them on her side in her search. She considers her plan, and then looks Amanjaku in the eyes, and tells him she will find Linshutsi, and then she will win what she deserves without his help. As she turns away, Amanjaku smiles. When Misaki challenges her father, the Oyabun of the Ten Thunders, to a duel to the death, several of her top lieutenants arrive and show their support. Asami is among them, even though she knows that openly opposing the Oyabun is very risky, and the majority of the Ten Thunders stand in his corner. Asami tries to make small talk with Jacob Lynch, but each of them makes the other uncomfortable, and it's a bit awkward. When the duel starts, Misaki swiftly cuts her father down, making her the rightful leader of the organization. Several of her father's former generals try to pledge their loyalty to her, but Misaki gives the order, cut them down, and Asami and the other lieutenants do as she commands. Asami has endured more pain in her short time than most people can in a lifetime. She knows that she's being manipulated by Amanjaku, who promises to give her a child, but considering all the changes he's caused to her body, who's to say he can't also fix her? Having been recruited by the Ten Thunders, who intend to use her Oni for their own purposes, Asami does not actually care for the organization, and is only using them to gain access to the Charm Warders and Spiritualists, who might help her to free herself from Amanjaku's influence. Asami presents several trinkets to Amanjaku, and thinks about how she regrets that she had to kill their former owners. Amanjaku explains that she had to be the one to kill them, because he can't get near the Charm Warders. Asami thinks about how she's learned to control the creature she summons, and then remembers her agreement, and asks Amanjaku why she does not have the child he promised her. When he is dismissive, she asks why she shouldn't kill him right now, and he says that he saved her life and gave her powers, and that without him she will never have a child. He explains that he made her kill all of the Charm Warders so that they could complete the summoning. He urges her to destroy the talismans, and she does, and feels her powers increase as their dampening field disappears. Amanjaku holds up a pale stone, and it shoots out green light as Asami feels intense pain and collapses. She hears another voice in the room, and struggles to fight through the pain. She hears the voice ask Amanjaku what he promised Asami for her help, and when Amanjaku replies that he promised her a child, the voice answers that he surely never intended to follow through, and laughs. Asami realizes that she'd been played, and feels rage. She opens her eyes and sees Yanlo and a girl being attacked, and Amanjaku and the other voice have disappeared. Asami summons the Ohagoro Batari, and it attacks the Akaname, while Yanlo and Chiaki fight off a puddle of ooze. When the coast is clear, Asami closes the portal, and says goodbye to her creature as it disappears. The girl is surprised to see that Yanlo is real, having always assumed that he was just a myth. Yanlo asks her if Misaki knows about her connection with Amanjaku, and she explains that Misaki only knows of her powers. Chiaki exclaims that she has betrayed the Oyabun, but Yanlo shrugs it off and tells her that he is impressed with her abilities. Asami asks what he wants from her, and Yanlo explains that Amanjaku is working with a man named Tiashen, who a long time ago tried to open a portal to let the Oni invade Earth. Now it falls to the two of them to stop him. Chiaki says they should leave the girl, as she can't even control the Oni anyway, so Asami summons a blue monkey and tells it to dance. Chiaki says that that's just a parlor trick, so Asami orders it to kill her, and it charges the woman with its blades out, only stopping at the last second as Asami gives the order. She then tells the creature to disappear, and Yanlo asks her where she thinks Amanjaku is headed. Asami says that she can't sense him anymore, but that he needs to go to a place with more magical energy in order to summon Linshutsi. Yanlo and Chiaki look concerned, as they understand where they need to go, and the old mage slams his staff down on the ground and they disappear. They find themselves in the bayou, with a large structure in the distance, and Asami asks what this place is. Chiaki tells her that it's Kythera, the remains of a long-forgotten age, and Yanlo tells them that they need to hurry. They make their way to one of the structures, and climb up the tower until they reach the top. There they find Amanjaku in a trance, holding a small orb, and Wang Shen. He tells them that Linshutsi will be here soon, and summons an army of Kamon, who advance towards the group. Yanlo raises some skeletons, and they fight off the Kamon, and Asami joins the battle, using the lashing tendrils of her hair to attack the creatures. Yanlo and Chiaki fight their way towards Wang Shen, losing the skeletons in the process, and he attacks them with his sword. He manages to knock them both away, injuring Yanlo, and then approaches him and raises his sword to finish him off. He tells the man that he has been waiting a long time for this, and swings his blade, but it is caught at the last second. Yanlo looks up to find that Jorogumo has parried the blow, and it engages Wang Shen as Yanlo makes his escape. He takes the opportunity to shoot magic at the stone Amanjaku is holding, and it shatters, throwing the creature off the edge. Wang Shen screams as he and the Kamon disappear. The group head down to the bayou and find Amanjaku, who begs for his life. Yanlo says that he must die, and as he approaches to finish him off, the creature's body starts to convulse, and a voice comes out of him. It tells Yanlo that he has changed nothing, and that he should tell his people that he is on his way. Amanjaku settles down, and Asami says that they cannot kill the creature, since he might be their only connection to Linshutsi, and they might need him to protect Malifaux. Yanlo says that he isn't worried about Malifaux, as the voice said to warn his people, which means it's coming to Earth. Chiaki says that she will speak to the Oyabun, and begin reaching out to their contacts in the Three Kingdoms. Asami begins training with Yanlo, and their first few sessions are enlightening. The old man praises her abilities and her connection to the beyond, and it instills Asami with a sense of confidence. The lights in her vision give her a sense of peace, and Yanlo teaches her to grow and manipulate them until Asami has complete control over them. She finds herself content, having learned to suppress Amanjaku's voice, and when Yanlo leaves, she works to prevent others from breaching the beyond. Though she still has much to learn, Asami is no longer anyone's puppet, and the magic she controls is hers and hers alone. And that's it on Asami. You know, it's been years since we got that little tease about the Kamon coming to invade Earth. And now that faction's finally coming to the other side, hopefully later this year. I'm really looking forward to that. And I wonder if Yanlo and Asami are going to have any involvement. Maybe they'll fight for the Three Kingdoms, but have the ability to manipulate the Kamon. That'd be really cool. It's also really interesting how Asami seems like she would be a sympathetic character, but she does some really horrific shit, and she feels bad about it, but I don't know if that's enough. I hope they keep developing her character. I think it could go some interesting places. But anyway, drop a comment below, let me know who you want to see me do a video on next. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.